I've got three children, twins who are 13, and my youngest son is 9. So fairly full on they are, if I'm honest. I lost my wife Sarah um, to cervical cancer in November 2011. She was diagnosed in August of 2010, and we had a 15-month period of illness and to and from the hospitals up until the time she died. She died, her final days were in the Princess Alice Hospice in Esher, and she was in there for a period of 11 days up until the time she passed away. During that period, I was with her pretty much 24/7, and the children could come and go as they liked. And it was the first time really in the period, because the last 3 to 4 months of her life she didn't come out of the Marsden. She was between London and Sutton. She was actually in a bed, no tubes, no nurses, and by that time we obviously knew it was terminal cancer. My wife wasn't quite ready to talk about the fact that it was terminal cancer, so we tended to have conversations as to where she was and where it might go, and then we would stop the conversation and move on to something totally different. But one of the key things was, because we were introduced to the hospice, it enabled me to talk to the children and to discuss with them and prepare them for what was going to come. They did art and craft within the hospice, and that enabled them to write down their feelings and describe their feelings. The sort of things they might do were, they did sand jars where they would put different coloured sand out on the table, and then they would mix it with red for angry and yellow for happy or blue for cold, and then they would put varying amounts of sand in the jar to say, well, if there was more red in the jar, they were more angry, and then you could say, well, why? Try and talk to them as to why they felt angry, and equally we would discuss happy things. So yellow would be for happy memories maybe that they had, and it was all about really keeping it out in the open excuse me, and discussing it with them, because I think for me there was no, because you don't know what to say. What do you say to your children? I had trouble getting my own head round it really, and it took me a couple of weeks just to fully understand where we were going, and I didn't appreciate it was a terminal illness until the September of 2011, by which time we had about 10 or 12 weeks until Sarah passed away. And I think that was partly because we were so consumed with dealing with the here and now and on a day-to-day basis, we almost ignored a little bit of what might be coming and focused on what was going on, because there was so much going on with hospital visits, operations, which was obviously physically and emotionally draining anyway, and obviously trying to keep normality with what's going on at home with the children as well. So, but once we'd moved into, if you like, the final phase and I knew where we were going, I could have more frank and open discussions with the staff at the hospice. And I think the best bit of advice they ever gave me, the counsellor gave me, was to be, keep it simple but be honest. And that's what I tried to do. So you wouldn't want to say anything that would be too upsetting to them, but I didn't want to lie to them. I remember my son, he asked me a question once. We were going up to the Marsden, and I did actually know that my wife was terminally ill then. And he said to me, and I remember it was going over Wandsworth Bridge, so the Marsden, and he said to me, oh, Daddy, is Mummy going to die? And I said to him, I don't know fully, but I hope not. But she might. And that was the only answer I could sort of give him without feeling I was lying, but I didn't want to be too brutally honest and say to him, well, yeah, your mum's going to pass away. And of course, when you're going through it, we're leading up to a period of Christmas and everyone else in life's carrying on as normal, and anyone who's been bereaved or been to the period leading up to dying knows that it's so emotionally, like I say, draining and manic, and you're trying to carry on as normal, and you're trying to, I don't know about put a brave face on it, but you do want to keep going and you want to believe everything's going to be all right. And I think that going to the hospice was a way of me letting it out as well, because I knew it wasn't all right, but it was helped me to offload and talk to people and let my sort of frustration and get upset with them, and then I could go away almost and right, let's start again. And it helped me cope, and it prepared me to talk with them, because like I say, you don't know what to say. What do you say? And it just helped me.